I've been wondering a couple of things today. Wondering a couple of things aloud I want to share with you. Number one, I watched this video on YouTube, courtesy of this YouTube channel called Domikowski. I'll link it down below in the description later on when I obviously clean up the pod and add the timestamps. And obviously when I put the podcast out on the audio platform, you'll see it. But it's by this user called Domikowski, and the title of the video is PlaqueBoyMax Quit Streaming for Music. And it's a really interesting video because the person basically hypothesizes that since PlaqueBoyMax hasn't been streaming, and in case you don't know, PlaqueBoyMax was this pretty popular streamer who was doing these in the booth streams where essentially he was helping to engineer, sometimes produce, or mostly engineer, and these songs for popping rappers, up and coming rappers, and he documented the whole process on live stream. The most famous one he did in the UK was when he did it with Lancey Foe, he did it with Len, he did a song with Skepta, he's done stuff with other US artists, but you know, he's been doing his bits. And he's also an artist on his own regard. He also makes music. He's got that song called Pink Drizzy he has with DDG, who's another content creator slash musician, artist kind of guy. And lately he's been putting out a lot more projects. And the video hypothesizes that since he signed a record deal, PlaqueBoyMax with Zach Beer's label, I forgot the name of it, but Zach Beer has a label, and PlaqueBoyMax signed to that label and recently put out an EP. Ever since then, he's kind of not been streaming as per usual. And allegedly, one of his plans last year was to stream 365 days. So to stream for the year and not stop every single day. And he obviously has stopped and quit randomly, and he hasn't really been seen on stream. He's been seen in the background of other big streamers that he's friends with in their videos and in their fucking vlogs and whatever, but he hasn't been seen on his own stream. And that YouTuber is hypothesizing that maybe PlaqueBoyMax has soft quit streaming in the hopes of putting all these chips into the artist becoming a full-time artist type of thing. And he quotes his interview that PlaqueBoyMax did when he was performing at Summerfest, one of those festivals recently. And somebody asked him, the interview asked him, hey, what advice would you give to kids coming up who want to do the same thing you're doing? And he was like, oh yeah, go all in, go all in. And then he kind of added to that and said, oh, actually, make sure that there's no plan B. Make sure there's no plan B. Put all your chips into plan A and go as hard as possible to achieve said goal, but don't have a plan B. Don't have a fallback plan. Never have fallback plans. Always just go fully ham for the number one plan, which kind of is the biggest indicator hint that you need that PlaqueBoyMax is basically doing the same thing with his music career. And it got me thinking, music is an interesting genre, isn't it? Music is an interesting industry, or just being an artist in general, because even somebody like PlaqueBoyMax, who is I'm assuming in his mid-20s, he's got, you know, he's got clout, he's got fame, he's got money, but he still longs for the appeal, the draw, the whatever of music. The music industry draw, the music industry hype, the music industry allure, the music industry fame, the music industry acclaim, respect, whatever it may be, is still too tantalizing for even a really popping streamer like PlaqueBoyMax, who I think last time I checked, he had like over 100,000 subs. So if you have over 100,000 subs and you're PlaqueBoyMax, how much? Let's say just hypothesize. Let's say 100,000 subs. Let's say that's what 499 most subs are. You times that by 100,000. At one point, he might have been making somewhere in a region of, let's say, 300,000 a month to 400,000 a month, which I would safely say and assume that's probably more than most artists, right? I don't think I'm speaking too untoward if I say that PlaqueBoyMax probably makes way more than most professional musicians, artists. Probably makes even more than some people he looks up to generally. Like, genuinely, people he looks up to, I bet he makes much more than them. But he still can't resist the urge to become a full-time musician. So it looks like he's quitting streaming altogether to focus on that, which is, you know, unfortunate, because I think the reality of it is that he's a much better streamer than he is a musician. I listened to his mixtape or his EP, you know, not that great, to be honest. Nothing to write home about. Nothing that's really going to change the world or do anything, I don't think, substantial in the industry. But music is also one of those weird things where if you keep plugging away at it, if you're diligent with it, if you really give your all to it, and you want to improve, you want to learn, you want to develop, you want to evolve as an artist, there is a scenario, there is a timeline I could see where he ends up actually honing his craft, exploring different genres, evolving as an artist to the point where people are like, oh shit, you're actually pretty decent. Because the same thing's going on with DDG. DDG, who I'm not going to listen to ever, I kind of group him in the same kind of group as like KSI in terms of musicians. But a lot of people say DDG's music has improved tenfold since he first began kind of, you know, making content and trying to push his music that way. But it got me thinking, because I'm currently trying to copy the same sort of thing that those kids are doing, where essentially you build up your clout in one niche, one area, and then you use said clout to kind of allow you to do the thing that you actually want to do. So obviously I would love to DJ. That's my main aim, to have that as like a, it won't be the main thing, but to do it as a side sort of thing where I get to play, let's say like, you know, maybe maximum of 100 decent dates per year. That get to play some of the big festivals, get to play some of the big clubs that I know and love. Obviously Berghain being #1, maybe Fold being #2, maybe Robert Johnson being #3 in Frankfurt. But that's the kind of goal. And the hope is, or the dream is, the aspiration is, the goal is to use some of this, like, whatever clout, whatever fame, whatever attention I have on the internet, doing these streams, doing these podcasts, doing these content, doing these videos, vlogs, the DJ live streams, whatever I do, use some of that clout and power and then sprinkle it over into my DJ thing and allow that to kind of help me, you know, get my leg over and get certain bookings. That's kind of what I want to do, which is what kind of a lot of people have done. I've kind of also got inspiration from this vis-a-vis the fucking podcasters out there. So the stand-up comedians who kind of do the same sort of thing, who kind of segued a lot of their fame on podcasts to help that kind of propel or to lift up and hold up their shitty stand-up careers. Most of these guys aren't funny. A good example being Joe Rogan. A clip of his has gone viral today actually, and everyone's talking about it. And you know, Joe Rogan most likely is like 30 years into stand-up comedy, maybe late 20s, but he's definitely approaching that 30-year mark of being, you know, doing stand-up professionally for 30 plus years. And I don't think you can tell. I don't think when you watch Joe Rogan do stand-up, you can tell if he's a 30 plus year comic. He doesn't seem like one. He doesn't give you the funnies like one. But he's been able to kind of use that fame and attention he's been getting from TV shows, stuff that he got from the podcast, and then allow that to kind of propel his stand-up comedy to the point where now he tours the world doing stand-up. But I don't think his stand-up actually links up or lines up with his level of fame, you know? The quality of his stand-up doesn't at all marry over to his kind of level of fame at all whatsoever. It doesn't make any sense. But it makes sense in a way because he's famous. This is what I kind of want to do. But what I've kind of realized from this PlaqueBoyMax situation is that you actually have to be careful what you wish for, because he always wanted this. He finally gets into the industry and he realizes, oh shit, to actually be the best, to actually achieve my goals, I'm going to have to cut my nose to spite my face. I'm going to have to give up one thing to get the other thing that I really want. I can't do them in tandem. But I also wonder if he did that, you know, maybe quit stand-up or quit streaming, because he's maybe a little bit conscious of the idea that would he not get taken serious if he's continued streaming. Maybe PlaqueBoyMax looks at DDG, sees all the development and all the growth he's done over his career in terms of going from being someone pretty mediocre to someone being pretty decent as an artist, and people don't mind listening to him. I wonder if PlaqueBoyMax saw that example of DDG and thought to himself, you know what? DDG didn't ever quit flipping streaming for a prolonged period of time to focus on his music, and look what happened to him. Do you know what I mean? It kind of took, you know, what you call it, PlaqueBoyMax and the others to kind of, you know, give him another bit of boost. And now he's obviously enjoying that kind of attention in the sunlight. But I wonder if that's even important. I wonder if that will carry over in the DJ world. I wonder if I became niche famous in my own little field for talking shit into a microphone, and then I wanted to go get booked in certain places, would it damage my chances of getting booked because, you know, I might have said some dicey, shitty thing on fucking stream one time? I'm assuming the answer will be yes, most likely. You know, anything you do say could be held against you. But I would love to live in a world where that you can just kind of curtail some of those barriers and just be like, yeah, well, whatever, you mean girl group stuff, walk it off and just go back to the stage and have a good time. I probably think that's what most people would do. But big up PlaqueBoyMax anyway. I'm eager to see how his journey pans out. I recommend you check out the video. It's really good. It's by this YouTuber, like I said, called Domikowski. It's called PlaqueBoyMax Has Given Up on Streaming or something along those kind of lines. So check it out if you haven't checked it out. He does a really good job of kind of detailing and telling you exactly why he thinks PlaqueBoyMax might have quit, the reasons behind it, and provides evidence as well. So I recommend check it out. I recommend check it out. I recommend check it out.